How many years have people been asking for an Assassin's Creed game set in Japan? It's got to be at least 10. And so finally, when the franchise is at its weakest, and Ubisoft in general is probably going to go bankrupt in the next 5 years and likely be bought up by Microsoft, they finally pull out their ace in the hole, an Assassin's Creed game set in Japan, just like we all wanted. And of course, it stars a black man in feudal Japan. Now, this is where all the people who are trying to change the definition of woke come out and say, Yasuke was a real samurai from feudal Japan, and you're just a racist for not wanting to play as him. Well, first of all, Yasuke wasn't a samurai. He was a servant, effectively a pet of Oda Nobunaga. But whatever, it's not like Assassin's Creed was ever that historically accurate. That's not the point. It was never the point. The point is, it's a game set in Japan, and instead of playing as a Japanese man saving his country from the evil Japanese Templars, but no, we play as the one notable black man from historical Japan, and you know exactly why. Oh, and of course, I can't forget to mention there's also a playable female protagonist who thankfully is Japanese, but unfortunately has a wide face and a man jaw. Of course, we couldn't have a woman with feminine features because that would be transphobic. You think I'm joking? I'm not. Now, look, I'm not going to act like I'm super shocked because now several Assassin's Creed games have had female protagonists. But I really think it's the icing on the cake in this whole shit show. But no, that's not woke apparently. Woke only means contrived forced diversity. You do realize that is a completely subjective and useless definition, right? Since I was asked a bunch of times by tourists to this channel to define woke, it's very simple. It's whatever ESG or Bridge is pushing, aka progressive leftist politics. That's what woke is. Woke is not some arbitrary idea of what you're not okay with. There's this little thing called the Overton window. You have slowly been conditioned to accept more and more. I'm not going to use the term again that every centrist grifter fucking got triggered by. I'll just say miscegenation. Feel free to Google that. Apparently that doesn't count as woke, even if that's very obviously part of their agenda. There's a reason why it's in every goddamn commercial on TV. It's in every TV show. It's in every fucking movie. But no, that's not woke, according to fucking retards.
Kids, the guy is black and he's white, so he's talking about like, oh, it's race mixing and promoting race mixing.
But that's not even being woke.
So yes, if any of you were expecting a response video to the numerous replies to my Fallout reviews, or Moist Critical's little tidbit in his podcast, no, it would be completely pointless, and as entertaining as that video would be, it certainly would get this channel in trouble, to say the least. And look, I know I'm rambling about something completely unrelated to this Assassin's Creed trailer, but I do want to point out before we move on that there seems to be this narrative that I was the only guy who didn't like the Fallout show, when It's a Gundam's video on it has 250,000 views. So I wonder if Critical will have something to say about that. Somehow I doubt it. Why was my channel specifically targeted? Probably because I'm the only remotely popular chud gamer on the internet at this point. And unfortunately, my review of the other 7 episodes got hit with an age restriction from mass reporting. Yes, there was a couple seconds of exposed titty in the video, but I don't think that's why I got age restricted. Call me a schizo, but even after censoring it in YouTube's editor, my appeal got rejected. So, obviously something fishy was going on there. Regardless, my point of this little side tangent is just that even though the trailer appears to have a massive amount of dislikes, it's almost 50-50 according to the dislike extension, which I do want to point out that the dislike extension is not entirely accurate. It actually usually underreports dislikes, so it's probably even more than this. But I do want to say it's very clear to me, at least with the debate going on around a lot of adaptations or race swapping or interracial couples or replacement characters like Miles Morales, that people don't seem to understand where the line is with woke. Again, for normies who don't really give a flying fuck about the culture war and don't even understand that they're slowly being conditioned to accept worse and worse things I actually can't even say in a video or this channel will probably get deleted. Again, I think you guys already know what I'm talking about, and by the time they realize, it will definitely be too late. I really think people have just become too stupid. I mean, honestly, if you just take away the woke element of the Fallout show, that show is just straight up retarded. The plot doesn't make any sense. There's a reason why even Mauler didn't like the show, okay? And yet normies ate that shit up, which is why you have people like Critical defending it, because all they do is parrot the most popular opinion. And so the Fallout show is not woke, but this Assassin's Creed game is woke. I'm really starting to think that normies unironically think woke means thing with left-wing propaganda that I don't like. If they do like the thing, they will ignore all left-wing propaganda in it. Perfect example, Baldur's Gate 3, right? So the word has become effectively meaningless. I feel like for every tiny victory that quote-unquote our team, and I'm using that very loosely, okay? Our team doesn't exactly agree on a lot of shit, as I've learned over the past few years. But even the tiny victories we have made effectively are meaningless because the brainwashing is way too fucking strong. So no, I don't think this is any kind of victory that the average person hates this Assassin's Creed game, because they have no real principles. They do not stand for anything. Maybe if this released in 5 more years, they wouldn't give a flying fuck that Yasuke's black. Now, if you're wondering why this video isn't really talking about gameplay or thoughts on, like, the concept of the game, that's because it's just a CG trailer. There's not much to actually talk about. So might as well just talk politics. It's unfortunate that my gaming channel, and it has always primarily been a gaming channel, not a politics channel, I unfortunately have to talk about politics in almost every single modern game review, because ESG, bridge, DEI, whatever is being shoved into every major video game. And I know I'm just preaching to the choir, explaining the same things over and over again to explain where ESG funding comes from, whether it's BlackRock or Vanguard. And I'm not even actually allowed to talk about why they're funding these things in games, why they're pushing it, and I already know my fans know exactly why. So what's the point of saying it for tourists at the risk of banning my channel? There isn't one. And truth be told, am I all that outraged about this? Honestly, no. I mean, I do enjoy getting mad for these videos. It's actually pretty cathartic to yell into a microphone, believe it or not. And I actually saw the leak about this game's concept like a year ago, and even as far as Clown World has gone, I was slightly suspicious of it, but let's just say when there was a second leak less than a week ago, I wasn't all that surprised. And Assassin's Creed has been effectively dead to me since, like, probably Black Flag. So I really have no personal investment in the IP anymore. And look, I truly thought Assassin's Creed Mirage was just okay. It wasn't terrible. Yes, it did have some woke stuff in it, definitely, but gameplay-wise, it was a step in the right direction. But it definitely wasn't enough to get me interested in Assassin's Creed again. I don't think anything could. And this trailer just justifies that thought completely. I mean, truly, if you buy this game, you're helping kill the video game industry. There's not a doubt in my mind. There is no reason that this game should sell well. If it does, it truly tells you how cucked our modern society is. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to say about this. It's not like we had gameplay to work with. The only thing I can tell you to do is just keep voting with your wallet. Don't buy this slop no matter what. I mean, I might review it just to make an entertaining video, but sure as hell not a single one of my fans should spend any money on any Ubisoft game. And I mean any Ubisoft game. There's been rumors about Far Cry 7 and how it's going to have the Peaky Blinders guy as the villain, but who cares, man? It's Far Cry again. I don't care how good the trailer looks. Don't buy any Ubisoft game. Let them die. They're on their last legs. I might be a doomer, but I am not completely and utterly cynical to the point of being blinded. It's obvious that us not buying these games is having some effect on the industry. I seem to recall reading that BlackRock lost like $1 trillion on investments. That's an unimaginable amount of money, so it's obvious that if we just keep doing this, at the very least, they'll have to pull back a little. Now, somebody like me, I'm always going to read into the more subtle propaganda, no matter how much people think I'm reading into shit. I actually understand these things, they do not, which is clear from all of the backlash against my Fallout videos. So trust me, I'm not gonna suddenly become an optimist if this woke funding suddenly pulls out of the game industry, because we have to remember that a lot of the developers working for these modern AAA companies are also far leftists. Because of their mental illness, they genuinely think they're doing a good thing by spreading their ideology in art. So I think it's going to be a long battle in the years to come, but I think we are making a small amount of headway. So just no matter what, don't buy this slop. That's about it. See you next time, guys.